Welcome to Hi Felicia. Hi Felicia. Hi Felicia.
Hey everybody, we are here for a midweek bonus episode because while we were re-listening over and over to episode 3, Full Frontal Felicia, Casey really had a lot of thoughts on the story about when Felicia met or had an encounter with Harrison Ford and Calista Flockhart when they had that back surgery. And Casey's recollection and memory of this incident is a little different than Felicia's. And clearly, Casey probably has a better memory than Felicia. So we just wanted to introduce Casey, my husband, to the pod. Thanks, Casey, for coming on.
No problem.
So you really have something to say here.
It's not so much that I have something to say here. I just know that there were certain details that got missed when the story was told by Felicia last week. And I think that these details are so incredible and important to the story that the story needs to be told in its truest form. And I've told this story. That's why
you have told the story like so many times.
I wouldn't say so many times, but it's to me, it's one of those stories that's so like it's so Felicia.
And it's so memorable
in a good way. Like it's very like
it's very telling of who she is.
Yeah, and keep in mind though, when this happened,
I think for context, we should play a little bit of like the story from Felicia.
Right. And then we'll pause or something. And I'll fill in the blanks from my memory.
But for context, Casey and I, we were living together in LA in Los Feliz, but we had been dating not even a year. We moved a little quick because we were, 27, 28. So,
when you know. But let's roll the tape.
Okay. So 12 years ago?
It was
13 years ago?
It was 2010. Yeah, so like
13 years ago. Marni had back surgery
in California
in
Marina Del Rey
with a very fancy schmancy doctor. And it was like at night, I was sitting there in the waiting room waiting for this to be over.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and stop it right there. I know specifically the date. It was October 28th, 2010. And
Why
I know
do you know this so well?
I know this because I was watching Game 2 of the 2010 World Series. My San Francisco Giants were playing the Texas Rangers.
And just for
we were in the waiting area.
But just so everybody knows, this wasn't like a regular hospital. This was like a very
high-end. A place for surgeries.
But it wasn't a hospital. So this waiting room wasn't like a hospital waiting room. It was like it was very private. This surgeon has done like celebrities and Olympic athletes.
Now, let me paint the picture of this facility, right? There's a front door, long hallway, then there's a waiting area with a receptionist desk, and then there's another door. And when you go into that door, there's like a circular room with a nurse's station in the middle, and surrounding this circular room is individual smaller recovery rooms, all filled with people that have had back surgeries that day. Now, Felicia, they had told Felicia and I, Marni doesn't remember any of this because she was recovering from surgery, but they had told us like, hey, we need to give her some rest. And God bless Felicia, she loves her daughter.
It was my second surgery too. I was very traumatized.
Felicia had gotten caught 3 times sneaking into the recovery room. And they're like, ma'am, you got to stay out of here. She needs her rest. And then she would tiptoe in and they'd be like, ma'am, you got to so at this point, this is pretty late in the evening. The front door was locked because it was closed to the public. And they had actually locked the door to the recovery rooms because Felicia had tried to break and enter several times. So let's pick it up from there. There's a little context.
Copy.
And who starts knocking on the door because I guess they closed the door after a certain point. It was getting late.
We know why they locked the doors.
Harrison Ford. I jumped over the table when I saw him.
That did happen.
That did happen, but I'm going to back it up because I remember sitting there hearing that knock at the front door, and typically I don't get involved unless I'm supposed to. But Felicia hears a knock at the door. She
doesn't know who it is at this point.
No, she didn't know. And I remember this specifically. She's like, "Oh, I'm going to go check the door." So she walks to the front door, and I hear her tripping over her words. Like, oh, hello there. Oh my God, hello. Oh, come on in. Come on in. And like I was like, who is Felicia talking to, and why is she letting these people into this building? And sure as shit, it's Han Solo. And he's a man on a mission. He's there to see his mother-in-law. He's like, but let's pick it up there.
Did you see Calista?
I saw her for a split second, yes.
But also, I mean, this is where Felicia and I's memories differ. I remember the two of them together. I remember both of them walking in together. And I don't know who Calista Flockhart is. I don't watch Ally McBride or whatever.
Ally McBeal.
Whatever, same thing. So I remember both of them walking in at this point.
Interesting.
But let's roll.
Was there any conversation between you and Harrison?
Other than thank you, hello, no.
All right, I'm going to pause it right there because this is where the story gets amazing, and this is where Felicia's didn't remember any of this. So because they had locked Felicia out of the recovery area, the nurse had come to me and said, "Look, we're locking up. We do have a nurse on duty. Here's a phone number. You can text if you need in here." And I remember Felicia explaining I don't know why it's locked, blah, blah, blah. And so I kind of get in the middle. I mean, keep in mind, my eyes are still on the game. My Giants are in the World Series, right? But also
Are they winning?
Also, Indiana Jones is right next to me.
But are they winning at this point?
They were winning. We won the whole thing. Spoiler alert, the Giants won the 2010 World Series. So during the confusion, I kind of got in the middle of it, and I was like, hey, they told us to text or to call this number if we need to get let in, because they can't get in either because they had locked the door. So I called the nurses center. Nobody answers. I remember Felicia at this point telling Calista Flockhart all about how this was the second surgery and how this has been so difficult, and we had to fly out here. I had to fly out here twice now. And Calista Flockhart, I remember. No, but I remember her being very gracious and nice. But I remember Harrison Ford not giving a shit. He's just trying to go visit his mother-in-law in there. And at this point, she's like,
did Calista tell her we're here to see my mother? How did you guys know it was the mother?
That's where 13 years. I don't remember that detail.
Okay.
But what I do remember was when we didn't get an answer from the nurse's office, I remember Felicia scaling the receptionist desk and climbing up onto the desk because her idea was, I remember this clearly, she was going to go around into via the receptionist area, go around the back and unlock the door for Harrison Ford. And as she's on the counter, the nurse that had asked her not to break into the recovery area 3 other times found Felicia on the counter. And he walked in, and I just remember going, "Ma'am, what are you doing?" And then she says, "These people are trying to get in. She's trying to see her mother-in-law. I don't understand."
She said these people? Do you remember that?
I mean,
she wasn't like Harrison Ford and Calista Flockhart.
I don't remember that specifically.
Right, but Felicia was just trying to help them because, what a story.
She was trying to help them because it was Harrison Ford and Calista Flockhart. But it was so funny. And at that point, they just disappeared into the recovery area. And, we settled in. And I'm sure Felicia was on her phone texting all of her ladies that she had just had an encounter with Harrison Ford. So that was my memory of the situation. I do remember that happening. I do remember the Giants winning the 2010 World Series.
And at this point, because you hadn't had a lot of close moments with my mother, Felicia. Were you what am I doing with this girl, Marni?
That might have been the first time Felicia and I had spent any time one-on-one together. Yeah. Which is wild to think. But, and under the circumstances, But no, I remember feeling very much in that process these two are very close. Anyway, I feel more comfortable now that the world knows what really happened that day.
I mean, she had a close, but you have a funnier version.
I have the details that she.
You have the insane, amazing beats.
It's still burned in my mind the look of defeat in the eyes of that nurse when he came out and found Felicia on top of the counter in the receptionist area. But
well, thank you. Thank you, Casey, for sharing your story. Maybe this won't be the last time we hear from you.
But it probably will be.
No, it won't be. I'm sure there'll be more
I'm more of
Felicia
a
stories
behind
to
the
clear
scenes
up.
kind of guy.
Yeah, but there'll definitely be more Felicia stories to clear up. So we hope that was a fun little bonus for you all. And tune in for the next episode that we will be recording over the weekend.
Bye, Marni.
Hoping to drop on Sundays. Bye, Casey, and bye, Felicia.
My Felicia, bye Felicia.